Components of classroom assessment. There are four essential components to implementing classroom assessment. Number 1, purpose. Number 2, measurement. 3, evaluation. 4, use. These components are illustrated. Purpose. Why am I doing this? So it is purpose. Measurement. What technique should I use to gather information? Evaluation. How will I interpret the results? What performance standards and criteria I will use? And the fourth one is use. How will I will use the results? So there are four components of classroom assessment. We will discuss each in detail. Number 1, a purpose. Whether done before, during or after instruction, the first step in any assessment is to clarify the specific purpose of gathering information. A clear vision is needed of what the assessment will accomplish. Why are you doing the assessment? What will be gained by it? What teacher decision making is enhanced by the information gathered through the assessment process? There are many reasons for doing classroom assessment, some of which are traditional, such as the first four listed below, and others that have become important with changes in learning and motivation theory, curriculum alignment, and the current context of high-stake testing. To diagnose students' strengths and weaknesses, to monitor student progress towards achieving objectives, to assign grades, to determine instructional effectiveness, to provide student feedback, to prepare students for high stakes tests, to motivate students. Knowing the reason for assessment is crucial because this will determine what the assessment should look like, how it is administered and scored, and how the results will be used. B. Measurement. Measurement is the process by which traits, characteristics, or behaviors are differentiated. The process of differentiation can be very formal and quantitative, such as using a thermometer to measure temperature, or can consist of less formal processes such as observation. It is very hard today. Typically, measurement is used to assign numbers to describe attributes or characteristics of a person, object, or event. A variety of techniques can be used to measure a defined trait or learning target, such as tests, writing observations, and interviews. C. Evaluation. Once measurement is done to gather information, you will need to place some degree of value on different numbers and observations based on specific frame of reference. This process is identified in the figure as evaluation. The making of judgments about quality, how good the behavior or performance is. Evaluation involves an interpretation of what has been gathered through measurement, in which value judgments are made about performance. For example, measurement often results in a percentage of items answered correctly. Evaluation is a judgment about what each percentage correct score means. That is, it is 75% correct, good, average, or poor. Does 75% indicate proficiency? Criteria also play an important part of the evaluation process. Criteria are the specific behaviors or dimensions that are evidenced to successfully attain the standard. These criteria may be the most important influences on evaluation. They may be called scoring criteria, scoring guidelines, or rubrics. For example, take as a standard that students know all state capitals in the United States. The criteria are what the teacher uses to conclude that the student does indeed know the capitals. For one teacher, this may mean giving the students a map and having them write in the capital for each state. For another teacher, it may mean answering 20 multiple choice questions correctly. Often, teachers use criteria for scoring tests and papers without a clear standard. In fact, if only informally, teachers must have some type of criteria in mind to make assessment evaluations. Both standards and criteria communicate to students the teacher's expectations of them. The nature of questions and feedback, the difficulty of assignments, and the rigor of the criteria tell students what the teacher believes they are capable of achieving. These expectations are important in motivating students and in setting an academic achievement climate in the classroom. The final stage of implementing assessment is how the evaluations are used. The use of test scores and other information is closely tied to the decisions teachers must make to provide effective instruction, to the purposes of assessment, and to the need of students and parents. These decisions depend on when they are made. They can be categorized. D. Use. The final stage of implementing assessment is how the evaluation are used. The use of test scores and other information is closely tied to the decisions teachers must make to provide effective instruction, to the purposes of assessment, and to the need of students and parents. These decisions depend on when they are made. They can be categorized into three major classroom uses: diagnosis, grading, and instruction. Number one, diagnosis. Diagnostic decisions are made about individual students as well as about group strengths, weaknesses, and needs. The diagnosis includes an assessment of why a student may be having difficulty so that appropriate instructional activities can be prescribed. For example, teachers use homework diagnostically to determine the extent of student understanding and to identify students who do not understand the assignment. Students are closely monitored to check motivation, understanding, and progress. Number two, grading. Grading decisions are based on measurement driven information. There is a great amount variability of in what teachers use to determine grades, how they use the process of grading to motivate students, and the standards they use to judge the quality of student work. Some teachers, for example, use grading to control and motivate, e.g., this assignment will be graded, and often teachers use completed work as a basis for privileges and otherwise rewarding students, e.g., good papers are posted. Grades and associated written comments also provide feedback to students and parents. 3. Instruction. Teachers constantly make instructional decisions And good teachers are aware that they must continuously assess how students are doing to adjust their instruction appropriately. One type of decision called a process instructional decision is made almost instantaneously, such as deciding to end a lecture or ask a different type of question. Planning instructional decisions are made with more reflection. They might include changing student seating arrangement or grouping patterns, spending an extra day on a particular topic, or preparing additional worksheets for homework. It is hoped that teachers will use credible measurement information with clear standards to evaluate student behavior accurately.